friends and lovers and all of the others. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Pod from the Bunker. We do this show every week with different streamers, different musicians, different creators. Today we have a Twitch streamer who I don't know a whole lot about. We've just connected through a Twitch program, and we are now buds. So we're going to be learning a lot more about our guest today, HGroove. If you're watching this show right now live on Twitch, thank you for being here. All of these VODs go up to my YouTube channel. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we do this live on my Twitch channel, which was just below me. So check those out. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to this on any of the podcast platforms, it really helps if you rate and review the show. So please go to your favorite podcast platform, whether that be Apple or Spotify or whatever you might use, and give us a little bit of a rating and a review. Super helpful. All of the links for our guests today are currently in the chat, and they will be below in the YouTube video and below in the description for the podcast. So click on all of those. All of my links are there as well. There's links to merch, there's links to Patreon, there's links to Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and everything. So check out all the links, and without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest right now. And this is going to be a good interview with HGroove. I'm going to get to learn a lot about him, and so are you. So let's do this. My man.
Hello.
There you are.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me today. I appreciate the invitation, man. That's actually pretty cool.
I must say that, like I said in our Discord chat, like I'm trying to get to know all of my other fellow streamers. So the fact that I don't know you very well is very interesting to me today. So I get to ask some questions to really learn about who you are and where you come from and where you'd like to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Exciting. So first off, I don't know where you're exactly located. I know you're on the West Coast, or you're 3 hours behind me. So where are you located?
I'm in Los Angeles, California right now.
Okay.
I've been living here for around 7 years, probably.
Okay, right on. And where did you live before this?
Well, I'm actually from Ecuador, man. I was
Ecuador?
born in Latin America.
Okay. Yeah, so you
And,
must know
yeah.
Cheeto Vera.
Cheeto Vera, of course, man. We love Cheeto Vera. So you are big into the UFC?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. No, he's great. He's an influence, most definitely.
What a great person to look up to. He's so grounded.
Great,
yeah,
man.
and
So grounded.
and he comes from a hard place, man. I
He
guess
comes from a hard place, man.
Yeah.
Like, it is really interesting to see how he grew in the UFC, starting on Ecuador, that there was like nothing for him.
Right.
Like, literally, he started where there's nothing, and I admire that from him a lot, you know?
Yeah, well,
It's a good message.
I think you're on the same path, my friend. You're doing the same thing. You're kind of getting yourself to a new place, and
Trying.
yeah, good for you. So let me ask you, HGroove, what is music to you?
Yeah. Well, music for me, it's who I am. It's like my personality. It's like an extension of myself.
Okay.
It's like, for example, the guitar, the bass is like my third arm. Let's
Yeah.
call it like that. Because I started when I was like so young into music that it is difficult to get detached from it.
Of course.
It's just something that is part of who I am, you know?
I tell everyone, like, I ask everyone, when did you get the bug or the virus or the music virus, when you caught that, almost, I wouldn't
Yeah.
call it a disease, but you caught that bug where you're like, oh, I have to keep doing this.
I see, yeah. Yeah, I would say, man, I am 29 today. I started
Today?
when I
It's your
was
bir-
12.
Hold on. It's your birthday today.
No. It's not my
Okay,
birthday today.
okay.
No.
But you're currently 29. I see what you're saying. So
I am currently 29,
Okay.
yeah. I started on music when I was 12 years of age.
Oh, wow.
So that's when I actually got an instrument and started like learning, and it's just been part of the majority of my life.
That's
you know?
amazing. Well, I could tell you sent me a link to one of your videos, and the production level is through the roof. And I can feel Latin vibes. There's some horns.
Yeah.
There's some very good grooves going on there. So HGroove Official is a great name for you, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's the name I got in college, actually, because I used to play the bass and sing and do all my things, and people used to be like, "Oh, that's HGroove," or like in Spanish, HGroove.
Okay,
And
HGroove,
I like
yeah.
the name.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to take it.
Nice. There's a band in Canada, in Toronto, called Ache.
Oh, really?
They don't spell
Cool.
it with just the letter H. They spell it AITCH, but they pronounce it H.
Makes sense.
So
makes
it's
sense.
backwards from that. It's kind of a wordplay on the opposite direction.
In what genre are they?
they would be at least alternative rock, and they might be some sort of harder rock even. But they've played around my area before. I've seen their posters around the area. AITCH. Yeah. Well, anyways, very interesting stuff. Do you remember the first time that you maybe performed in front of a group of people?
Oh man, actually that was a while ago. Like typically on like high school, you know.
Yeah.
You had
yeah.
And I remember performing there, and like I always got like a good a reaction from the audience. Like they just like the vibe, and that's also one of the things that got me hooked in to music. You know, once you got into stage and you see a positive reaction, you just want to
get that again.
Live there. You know,
yeah,
get that again. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely, man. I feel the same way, and it's like weird that we're also doing it for ourselves, but we're also providing that feeling for someone else. You know, those people who are giving you that reaction that feed your soul, you're feeding their soul. It's a two-way street. So you're you're an important part of that equation.
Yeah, no, totally, 100%. And I would say like having those experiences so young is something that like kind of like made me go to this path or made me go into music. I actually remember, man, like I was like probably 13, 12 years of age, and they did like a talent show in my school, and I was like so nervous, man. I went to the teacher and I was like, hey, I don't want to go, please. The teacher was like, I don't know, you have to go in front of the stage. And it went well, man. It went good, if you know, for a kid. And that's one of the things that
hooked you in.
Yeah, exactly. Hooked me in, exactly.
It's all of those little things that sort of feed you along the way that you realize, like, I really need to do this for myself. So it's very cool, man. I'm just wondering, you released that, I got your YouTube video. So how do you think you would successfully release music in 2022? What is the secret sauce that you think to sort of get noticed or to sort of rise above? Is there anything you have in mind? Any creative ideas?
Well, what I think is important to do is just to release content more than if people like it or people don't like it. Just to be in a constant state of creation, because like that's like relative. Like I can release a song, people will be like, nah, I don't like it, but other type of people will probably love it. There's so many artists that are successful that probably I don't like them or others don't like them, but that doesn't mean that their music is not valid. So I think that something that is really important is to continue creating and finish, because sometimes we as musicians, we start something, we never finish. We're like, it's not good, or I don't know, we just start something else. So I think that it's important to be in a constant state of creation.
Right. And I think that, well, also that's why I do this podcast, is because I get to learn about others. I get to create content on Twitch and on YouTube and on the podcast platform. So it's one of the ways that I am sort of feeding that algorithm. I call it an alligator, right? You got to feed it a cookie every day or every week and keep it happy. So smart man. Do you think that true for Spotify releases as well as, you know, obviously YouTube releases and stuff?
I mean, yeah, of course, you can also have like a plan and like strategy and all of that. But yeah, I think as well, because have been cases of people recording on GarageBand or having little to known experience with like music production, and suddenly their song becomes successful. But there's other cases where like people invest money into their production and their song doesn't fly as the other songs, you know. So I think as you were saying regarding the alligator, the important thing is to continue creating, not stopping, because you never know. Probably like the song you'll do tomorrow is gonna be the one that is gonna take you to the next level, you know.
Right. Absolutely, I agree. Do you gig out? Have you, when you were in Ecuador or even here, do you play out at pubs and different events like that, or have you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're a live music performer, and do you perform solo or with bands, or how does that work for you?
I do perform with a band. I like performing solo, but there's nothing like a good band. Like, for example, I think like a good way to present your work is probably with a trio. More than that, it's better. Like if you can have like a saxophone or something like that. But if you have a solid trio, you can like show yourself as the music that you do and stuff like that. You can do duos as well. There's people that do great duos. I think in my end, I like going into like trios because I'm a bassist.
You're right.
So I like having that drum, you know.
Yeah, and I think obviously the groove, and like with Latin music as well, like there's things that I'm not very well trained in it, but like things like sambas and rumbas and different feels that are very important to make it feel that way. And I heard that in your song. Like I don't know the names of them, but you know, calypsos and claves and these sort of things that are like the bass note is never on the one in reggae, you know, you always leave that one open. And sort of those kind of things. So do you have that sort of technical learning, or?
To a certain extent. I mean, I think that a lot of the music that we listen probably depends in like where we were born, but also like geographic location. Like
Right.
if we are born in a more like warm place, like hotter, probably our sound is gonna change. If the place that we're born or where we grew up is colder, our music is gonna change as well.
Okay.
And that's why I've noticed that, like for example, in like Latin America, like ska, reggae,
Yeah.
salsa, it's common. Even though ska and reggae, they are not from Latin America; they're from the Caribbean.
Yes.
But still, you know. And I would say it's just like music that you grew up with, like in the streets, or like I don't know, like with your friends. Like for example, I'm not huge into cumbias, but I do like them, and salsas as well. But it's not that I'm the biggest cumbia player, but since I grew up with it, like you go into a bus
in your
and you
blood.
listen to the music.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of like you kind of like recognize that it's easier for you to get some stuff of that
Right.
with your subconscious, you know?
Right. Yeah. You just feel it through your bones, sort of thing.
Exactly.
It's more
Uh-huh.
intuitive, more free, almost.
Yeah, which is cool.
You don't have to
It's
think.
interesting,
You're
yeah.
just flowing like alpha state. You just flow. So how do you find a balance? Do you have a job, or do you try to play music just exclusively for your income, or have you had a job, or how does that work for you? How do you balance making music and making income?
Yeah, well, what I do is also I teach, so
Okay, yeah.
that helps me with my income. And recently, I'm starting a codification course because I want to learn how to code, because I think that you can do many things with coding. So I think that's gonna be like a huge help with what I do without having to necessarily leave music. I do also play with different bands, so I try to do music as much as I can.
Yep.
And this year has been actually positive for me.
Good.
Like I also play in this band that it's called Steel Parade, and they use steel drums.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the steel?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So in Southern California, that's used a lot. Like in the beach at the coast, they
Yeah.
use that a lot. So I've been playing with them, having a lot of gigs, and it has been really fun actually. But yeah, it's important to. I think as musicians, it's important to expand ourselves to more abilities, you know, without necessarily leaving what we love. Like I
Right.
think that coding can be something that can go well, because the only way of doing interactive art is with coding.
Yes.
You know, or like more
Streams.
technological
Same
art.
with the stream, right? To have the bots working and the different
Yeah,
effects
exactly.
working. Yeah. Very.
And I love technology because, you know, we are streamers, so we have to get familiar as with production and all of
Yeah.
that and technology, you know.
Speaking of production, I was so blown away by the level of production in the video you sent me, like the audio production. Let's just leave the video out because we're musicians. But dude, how many instruments did you play? How did that go for producing that song? It's called Amazing Life, I think.
Amazing Life. Yeah, I produced it with a friend of mine. Actually, we did it when I was in college.
Okay.
and I recorded the bass. I wrote the song, and then a friend of mine did the guitar. We also had some piano and
Horns?
brass section.
Yeah,
horns.
brass
Yeah.
section, yeah.
Mainly like the trombone is like the brass star there.
Yeah.
It's a good friend of mine. Yeah.
It sounds tremendous, dude, and lots of groove changes too going on in there. It feels very good.
Yeah.
Actually, just before we started this, I was playing it at my girlfriend. This is fun. This is very fun. I was like,
I'm glad you say that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually I love the video because the video was recorded in Los Angeles and
Okay.
in Ecuador. So you
Oh.
have like both places, man. That's like exactly
Do you think moving to America changed your
Uh-huh.
music culturally?
a little bit, yeah. Even though there's a lot of talent down there, man. There's like a lot of talented people, and there's a
mean-
lot of culture as well. But coming here, it's also a different level because you meet people from all over the world, and this is where the music industry is at. But I would say that there's also a positive with like staying where you're at, because you know they say that in order to play on the big leagues, you have to move out of your country sometimes. You know.
Or your small
But-
hometown? That's for me. It would be as my hometown to a bigger city. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But the good thing about like where you are is that you do work based on your community. You grow your community, and your community, you know, gives you back.
Yes.
You
Of
know?
course. Of course.
So I think that's also like a good thing. If someone is listening to me and they don't know, like I think that that's also like a good idea. That is one of the things that I see through my life. I'm also connected with that community because that community is the one that I grew up with. But I think it's important it's essential to work for your community.
And what I also mean is like things like rock music and pop music here in North America or the Americas is like quite different than Latin music.
It's different.
Yeah. So do you think that's had a big influence on you being here and like changed some of your sounds and things?
It does, because I've gotten more into like traditional American songs, like Country Road, stuff like that are like classics, and I love them, like Motown as well.
Yeah.
Because I also grew up listening to that music, mainly because I wanted to listen to that music, because I kind of like research and enjoy it. But here is like you listen it on the streets, as I was talking of cumbias in South America. Here is like, and I like it, so I think that has that a lot, and meeting people from all over the world and from here too just brings more to my creativity.
Absolutely. Yeah. See, I think that would really help me to go to a culture that has a different feel of music, whether that would be like, India has the sitar with different scales, or Latin America has these very groovy feels, a sensual sort of groove always. And so
since you're a guitar player, huh?
I play guitar as my so I'm not a great guitar player. I'm a singer. My voice is my number one instrument. So I kind of I have a country raspy voice, sort of like, Leonard Skinner and Kings of Leon sort of sound.
Nice.
So
I did heard some of your stuff. It's really cool, actually, man.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so I don't really play guitar well. I just play it enough so that I can accompany myself with some chords and stuff like that. But I can't play lead very well or anything crazy like that, so...
Because for guitar players, like South America has like a lot of acoustic guitar techniques and rhythms, and there's also like Brazil, which is still part of Latin America. They don't speak Spanish, but it's a huge world of music there and feel. So it's really interesting. All
nice.
Of that.
Yeah, because they have a Portuguese language. Has that changed the culture of the music there too?
It changes, and I don't know the feel too, but the languages that one speaks has a big influence on your culture,
Yeah, and the way that like words and vowels are sounded out can go a certain...
Correct.
Like I can't rhyme the same words you can rhyme in Spanish or Portuguese, let's say, right? The words don't flow they flow differently. You have to say it in a different manner. So yeah, I think that really expands as well, knowing two languages, man.
It is actually great. It's actually really important, especially here in the Americas, where like you can like just talk with a lot of people, But yeah, like I do love American rock and roll and classic rock and roll and all of those that are like root music, Like,
I also heard a little bit of that in your recording as well. Like I heard influence of American rock and then also the influence of Latin groove and it was very interesting. I loved it. Yeah. So what do you prefer? Do you prefer to be a recording artist or a performing artist?
I think I like both, man. Recently, I'm getting more into recording and doing more stuff, and I use Logic. I think Logic is great. Eventually, I probably would like to jump into Ableton.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah.
A lot of people use that because it's good for the live aspect as well.
Live aspect. Yeah, it's like Logic is not as good for the live aspect, but you can still do great stuff with the program,
Yeah, for sure. So I think also, like when you're performing, the difference for me is that when I miss a note performing, it's already gone, and I'm on to the next note. But recording, it's very like, your microscope on all of your vocals, all of your notes have to be perfect because they're going to be on that record forever. So what do you feel is more natural to you? Do you like to go for the perfection of recording, or you just like jamming?
Man, that's a good question. But because have you ever heard that say that says perfection is the enemy of good or something like that?
Yeah.
In the sense that sometimes we are like, oh, this has to be perfect, and then we never release it because perfection doesn't exist. But I think that there should be a balance. You shouldn't just kind of like, throw stuff with them being like out of tune, but. I don't know. It's a tricky question, man. I think that sometimes you just have to release stuff without caring if it's not perfect, because you learn as you do.
Of course.
If probably my level of production won't be the best, but if I continue, I'm just going to get better because that's what humans do, We just get better the more we do things.
Yeah, of course. It's experience. So with that answer, you didn't answer whether you liked one or the other, but would you like us to play the recorded version of your recorded media that you sent me, or would you like to perform first? What do you think would you like to do first?
I can perform. Yeah,
Okay,
I can perform.
Why don't you get your stuff ready? I'm going to move it over to full screen for you, okay?
Oh, one thing. Do you want me to perform the song I sent, or I was thinking of performing
a different song. Yeah. That's
good.
All right.
All right, let me get ready.
You do thing. All right, we're just moving HGroove over to full screen here. I'm going to mute myself in a second here. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit of story about this song and perform for you guys. So enjoy this performance. It's all you, my man.
All right, thank you. All right, so I'm working on releasing this song. This one is called Deep in Your Mind. Actually, the producer of the bass player from Oingo Boingo is producing this, so I hope it will work out. This song is called Deep in Your Mind. Moving forward while the time seems to end. My life is just starting, but it doesn't seem to change. I feel so vindicated, it is so dark and jaded. Don't know what else to say, because the world have lost me and I can't find a way. 'Cause I am learning how to fly, living in the sky tonight. I'm swimming to your eyes, get lost deep in your mind, thinking all about your cute face, making my heart race, thinking that the world would never end, because all that exists has a reason, a purpose and a meaning, and I think I found a way to continue in this game. And if you wake up night and see the shadow of the past, remind yourself forever why this didn't last, because the storm has landed in the house that we have built, and everything is broken, but I'm glad I can feel. 'Cause I am learning how to fly, living in the sky tonight. I'm swimming to your eyes, get lost deep in your mind. Cause I'm learning how to fly tonight. I'm swimming to your eyes, get lost in your mind. 'Cause I'm learning how to fly, living in the sky tonight. I'm swimming to your eyes, get lost deep in your mind. Get lost deep in your mind. Get lost deep in your mind.
Yeah.
That was great. So another thing I wanted to mention quickly is, like, obviously in Latin America, a lot of nylon string guitars, because is that because of the humidity and it makes the steel string rust so much? Is that the reason, or is it just because it's
I
culturally?
really don't know, man. But there's a lot of music, like traditional music, that has been using the a acoustic guitar. I think it's because it's like comes from the Spanish probably.
True, right.
Yeah,
So, and also
yeah.
like the nylon style is a Spanish style guitar, but also I
Yeah.
always thought like with the humidity around the equator and of course in Ecuador, you probably
Yeah.
have like rust can get on the steel strings because of the moisture and then change of temperatures and stuff like that. So I didn't know if that was another adding factor maybe.
I mean, maybe, but I really wouldn't know if it's true or not. Like, it could be. There
Right.
could be something. But let me tell you this. Like, I come from the city of Quito, which
Okay.
is like a 9,000 feet latitude city. It's really high.
whoa.
So it's not as humid as you think. Like, if you go
Okay.
to the coast and
Yeah.
if you go to the Amazon, then it gets really, like, the air gets thick.
You
It gets
can-
humid.
yeah.
But where I come from
It's
is not
breeze.
necessarily
Okay.
like that.
I
you know?
understand. I'm an untraveled white dude, so I from Canada. From Canada, all I know is snowshoeing and skidooing and sleds. Skating. We play a lot of hockey here. Other than that, I'm lost.
That's cool. Yeah, man. I know about hockey a little bit.
Yeah, man. So, do you what sparks your creativity to like write a song? What would make you like? Say you're walking down the street today. Is there something in particular that helps you write, or do you have to wait for a moment? Is it a big event in your life that has to make you write a song, or is it anything?
Yeah, sometimes it comes from life experiences, but there's fantasy. Like, for
course.
example, if I talk about a breakup, it's not necessarily a breakup that happened to me now. Probably something that happened to me years ago, and I exaggerated with something that happened to a friend.
Right.
And then I take these other things.
Yeah.
So it comes from reality, but there's some fantasy
You're
surrounding
almost
it,
almost patching real stories together to make a fake story.
Yeah. And other times it's just like my subconscious talking, Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to let myself go and I write a song and then I listen to it later and kind of like it takes me to some places in my mind. I'm like, oh, I think I'm saying this here.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, you can change the whole sort of message because you're feeling a different message from it now. Someone
exactly.
in the chat says high altitude vocal training is next level. So being at 9,000 feet and singing, do you think that's more difficult than being at closer to sea level in California?
I mean, I really don't know, man, because I was born there, so for me it was never like a different. Like, for example, if you go there tomorrow,
right?
Like as artists do, for example, when people go and do concerts there, they have to they need oxygen.
Yeah, man.
And they give you like some like medication. It's not a big deal, but yeah, since I'm from there, I don't know if that has an influence in my way of singing or not. Like, I really
Right.
wouldn't know.
Right. Do you think that the humidity, because I know that here in Canada, we have very dry winter, very moist summer. So the summertime is very humid. Like even today, it was like 100% humidity. It was very thick outside. So I find that in the wintertime, my vocals are a lot worse than in the summer when there's a lot more moisture. Do you think that makes a difference for you, or do you notice this maybe?
I haven't too much. As I said, maybe it does, but I'm not aware of it.
Right.
So I haven't feel it. I just warm up and sing, and I think my voice has improved through the years too a little bit.
Of course. Can I ask you, HGroove,
Yeah.
what was in your parents or guardians or maybe grandparents, what it was in, or maybe your older brothers and sisters record collections that you think had an influence on you? Like what was in their record that they sort of made you listen to?
Well, my dad is huge into rock and roll. Like, my dad loved Kiss. Like,
Okay.
I remember my dad had, like, the vinyls. And I was like, for me, it looks so cool. Like, rock and roll was, like, something so mysterious when I was growing up. It's like rock and roll. And Deep Purple.
Okay.
And there's also great, like, music in Argentina as well. Like, there's this band called Soda Stereo. And all of these music that have been influenced from rock, by rock, but they also, have their own thing.
Right.
Because of the region. But yeah, I would say like mainly a lot of rock. And then of course you have from my mom's side you have like more like ballad music, like Spanish, like there's some artists like Leo Dan, like Jose. Like, I know if there's someone in the chat that speaks Spanish or understand about the culture, they will know the singers that I'm naming.
I feel like
But,
even me, I don't know that much, but I feel like Jose is something that I've heard of, or maybe came up on a Spotify
or
list.
like Juan Gabriel. Juan Gabriel is another one.
100%,
Like a really
I've heard
top
that
singer.
name. Okay, I've heard that
Juan
name.
Gabriel.
Okay.
And those are the songs. That's why, like, I would say that I also come from a really musical culture where
Okay.
there's like great music happening, like great artists all the time.
And do you think that, like, again, with listening to the next song that we're gonna play, like there was a lot of like trombone and stuff like that. How do you think that the Caribbean has influence? Is it just because the region is so close? Like it's very, I get that Caribbean vibe from it a little bit there, but maybe it's Latin. I don't know any better. Again, I'm a white guy who doesn't know much.
I mean, I really don't know, man. And I think it's also because of the weather, because the weather is still kind of like hot and the sun hits really hard. So I think that because it gets closer to that, people tend to feel that.
Okay.
And it's not, I'm not saying that where I come from is like Latin America has just a lot of ska. And if you listen to like Mexico or like Ecuador or like Colombia, like there's a lot of those type of genres. And I really don't know. It's probably because of the region and because of the weather mainly, I think.
Okay.
But I really wouldn't know exactly what it is, you know?
That sunshine thing. Because even with what I listened to growing up, I listened to Sublime, which is ska reggae band.
I love Sublime, yeah.
Yeah. So
from California.
Yeah, and they're from California, which is all sunshine, the Sunshine State, sunshine all the time. And you feel they have that island sort of, you know, that reggae feel that is like, associated with the weather, as you might say, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Very, very cool.
Maybe it's the weather. That's why, for example, if you go more to like people in the Nordics, like in Europe, they listen to more like metal and all the genres are like, I like them. Like that's also something I grew up listening to, like Children of Bottom, or I was huge into like metal. I don't know if you know too much about metal.
But I know it's a very like niche, but when people are into it, they're very into it.
Yeah. So there's like great stuff coming from them, and it's like different too, you know.
Yeah, Finland I know is very big in, like you said, Nordic countries, and Sweden they have big metal communities.
Big metal, yeah.
This is cool.
They also have like a genre called like Viking metal, and there's a band called Amon Amarth, and the guys look like Vikings, and they talk about like Viking stuff. You know, that's cool.
That's wild. If you were to put on like a big show, would you like have like fireworks and all these and like costumes like Kiss style stuff, or would you just have like maybe something a little more chill, or maybe something like Pink Floyd with like trippy background behind you? What do you think you would put on for your show?
Trippy background, man.
Yeah,
like
the Pink
projectiles
Floyd thing?
in the background, they seem dangerous, you know. You need to be careful with it, even though it's cool, you know.
Who was it caught their hair on fire one time in a Pepsi commercial? Mariah Carey or something?
There has been many cases, like the singer of Metallica, James Hetfield. He also had an injury on his arm in the middle of a concert, and there has been like there's a band called Rammstein too that they use a lot of fire, and you know, things like that happen. So I love trippy background. I love visuals, so I think I would go more for the Pink Floyd side.
Right. True. All right, dude. Well, how about we get into what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the scene that's going to play your video back. So I'm going to ask you in a couple seconds here, after you introduce this song and this video, to mute yourself. But right now, I'd like you to tell the people who are watching here on Twitch and listening later on all the other platforms what this song is about, how you produced it, and how the video went. Because you said the video was from 2 different locations. So tell me how that all pieced together, and then we'll play this one.
So friends of mine that I know that are part of my community, they like my music and stuff, and they were like trying to help me with a music video. So I had the song recorded, and they were like, let's do something with this. So it was more of a guerrilla music video in the sense that we just went locations, start shooting, and wanted like to present what I was doing and where I was at the moment. And that's what it came from. You know, I'm sure that if we do a video like that today, we were going to have way more experience. We didn't have experience. This is like, the video was released probably like 5 years ago.
Okay.
But I think it still has like, it still represents a lot of what I do, you know?
I was very impressed. For a 5-year-old video, it looks very good, man. So I couldn't imagine what you're going to do next. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I do have other music videos, but I would say probably that's
this
so far like the one that I...
And like, and about the song, Amazing Life, you're trying to show off that you're living your best life sort of thing. Yeah,
that I can live an amazing life. Doesn't matter where I'm at. I can still achieve my goals and live my amazing life, you know? And that I know I can do it. That's kind of like what the song is saying, you know?
Yeah, the positive attitude, you're going to
Positive attitude.
Yeah, man. Very cool. So I'm going to put this on right now. I'm just going to ask you to mute yourself so that no noise comes while we're listening to your performance. Guys who are watching live, just be patient. It might take a minute for the video to load up. And if we have any problems, we're going to share the link with you guys, and we will make sure that we cut it in after. So oftentimes we have a little bit of difficulty showing lasers, but we'll see how this goes.
there's a place that I can go, where I can fly above the floor. My own place, my own town. It's in my head, it's all around. It's something new that I create. There's something wrong, but in a good way. You'll see your life and you'll decide if you keep on the raging light. I like this place because it's mine. I like what's mine because it's safe. I don't get lost in all this mess. I pay the price. This is my place. I can live an amazing life. Can live an amazing. I can live an amazing, live an amazing life. My hometown is far away from here. That's why I need to create something different than my usual vision that I made. I love listening to people, believing all the things that I say. Sooner or later I will be the one that plays on the horizon, fighting like Mike Tyson, acting really cruel like the family man son. Oh, playing in the stadium, feeling really loose at the blues of contagion. So anxious, singing to the world, building a universe with my own world, imagination, teletransport, yeah, la 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 la. I can live an amazing life, can live an amazing life. Live an amazing, live an amazing life.
Yes, sir. Don't forget to unmute yourself. Awesome, man.
Cool.
Dude, the sound of the trombone in that is so deep.
Yeah.
It rumbles in your soul. It's so good, dude. I mean, everyone in the chat was grooving. That was awesome, man. All right, so for the end of the show here, I usually ask a few more fun questions. So, do you remember the first concert you ever attended?
Yeah, one of the concerts that changed my life, actually, 2005, Green Day, Chicago.
Okay.
They were releasing their American Idiot. They were on the American Idiot tour.
Right. Yeah, that was political.
Incredible. Jimmy Eat World opening.
Okay.
And incredible concert. Changed my life, man.
Amazing.
Changed my life.
Okay, cool. So now the questions this is fantasy land. So if you were to be able to go on tour with two musicians, dead or alive, you get to build this bill. So it's you and two other musicians. It can be any musicians, dead or alive. And you guys are going on tour together. Who would those artists be?
Yeah, that's a tough question, huh? Man, I'm going to go with Sublime because I think we can go well together musically.
Hell yeah, that sounds just like it would fit.
And I love Nirvana, man.
Okay.
I like Nirvana.
Nice.
So on their Nevermind tour, that would be ideal.
Okay, cool. Now the next question is what would you guys have in the green room for your rider? Like what kind of food, maybe drinks, maybe any special things you want to have back there? Maybe you want a PlayStation set up with like an old video game or something. What do you want on your rider? Because when you go to these concerts, these artists have like big riders where they have like, you need to have this, a watermelon, and we want to, a fried pig and, all this stuff. So what would be on yours in your dream world?
Personally, for me, I would like something that will not make me like I wouldn't like a barbecue or something like that. And if I have a barbecue, I will have it like later.
Yeah. You can have it after the show. They'll bring it while you're playing, and then when you come, it'll be steaming hot right when you get off stage.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Man, that's a really difficult question, dude. But I think probably Mediterranean food, like really good Mediterranean food.
Is there any particular alcohol drink or beverage or maybe cannabis or something? I know you live in California.
Cannabis?
Yeah?
Yeah, cannabis. Yeah, probably cannabis too. Cannabis. We can have some cannabis there.
Okay. Is there any beer that you like, or maybe like craft brewery that you'd like to support that you would bring their beer, or maybe whiskey or some? Maybe you drink tequila.
Well,
I don't know.
Friends of mine, they have their own beer back home in Ecuador. So their beer is called like Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Like the movie.
Django,
so the beers. So I would like to have them.
Beautiful.
I would like hire them to have like probably we have a party. I will have them like.
Yeah. Provide all the beer, and then you can have like you have one on stage to help promote your boys. You know, crack one out there.
Exactly.
Rock star.
Do you like brewery? Do you like artisan beers and stuff?
Artisan?
Like
yeah, I like craft breweries. We call them
craft brewery.
Yeah,
correct.
That's where most of my gigs are at, craft breweries, because usually in my area they have no televisions, no sports games going on. The breweries are just about like live music and beer. There's no other craziness going on. No crazy restaurant stuff. It's just chill. And so even though you're still kind of a wallpaper act at the craft brewery, you still have a lot of people paying attention, and you get a great tip jar, and like you don't feel like so not included in the whole day. You feel like a part of the room. So now let's say you guys, I don't know any big venues maybe in South America that you might know, but this tour, what would be like the last final place to play? Maybe it's Madison Square Garden, or maybe you're at a big soccer stadium somewhere, or maybe it's just a small rock pub from your hometown that you want. But what would be the dream venue to play with Nirvana and with Sublime?
Maybe the Crypto.com stadium, which it was known as the Staples Center. In Los Angeles.
The LA one. Okay, yeah, that's a big place. Yeah. That's like the Madison Square Garden of LA, right? Like the big.
And there's also like the Hollywood Bowl is actually a really good one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good performances there happening all the time.
Totally. And then I always like to say it's not far from you, Colorado, and there's Red Rocks. Have you ever seen Red Rocks?
No, but I've heard of it. It's like a venue?
It is a naturally occurring, so they've kind of like shaped the rocks into like like a theater sort of, but it's an amphitheater that's built into the mountainside. And it's all red rocks. So it's like, you can go look it up. Metallica's played there. I'm sure you can find all these bands there, but you go look up this venue. That's my dream venue, but you're kind of close to that. So I'm like, hey, you could also go over there. A lot of people mention it as their dream venue, because if you're from America or North America, that place is very like unique, very interesting,
magical
place. Magical place.
I'll definitely do my research on it.
I think that there's some sort of energy coming from the mountains that helps that place have the rocks are providing this resonance there that I could so.
Yeah, the mountains. I love the mountains, man. I'm also from the mountains,
Yes, you are. 9,000 feet up there, man. I can't believe
that. That's in the
that.
Andes. Yeah.
The Andes. Okay, that's where it is. Okay, my last question is like, what would be your final goal in music? What do you think would make you feel complete with live music or with music in general? Yeah. What do you think would be your final goal, your Bowser? You beat the final boss and you feel very content.
To have my music on a movie or on a video game.
Okay.
I would love to do music for video games too, honestly.
Amazing.
I think there's
Tony Hawk style. That last song you had could be in Tony Hawk, huh?
In Tony Hawk, or something totally new. Something maybe that doesn't exist now.
Right.
But I think that's one of the goals that I do have. And
then with programming, maybe VR games.
Exactly. I see that like VR or like augmented reality with music, because music is good to continue getting abilities, in my point of view, and I think that VR can be something, or
100%.
Music or video games, a goal. Yeah.
Okay, my last question for you today, my man. Thank you so much for being here, but what is it that makes you happy?
My family, music, doing what I love, releasing content, and having a sense of finishing something.
Okay, that's a good one. The sense of completion.
completion, sense of completion. Because sometimes like you can have like success by days. It's like if you are successful this day, you went to the gym, you ate right, you finished a song, you did something.
You drank a lot of water.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Very true. And like we've had many people talk about that with successes. It's a never-ending goal, and it can be as small as, oh, I wrote a really good line today, or I really I played a riff that I really like, and that's it, and that's successful for the day. And we can all lean towards that and feel good about it as we create, because being a creator, like you know, is very hard, man. It's hard to make money. It's hard to feel okay amongst your peers who are like maybe lawyers or real estate agents or doing these other businesses, and you're like, yeah, man, I play. It feels very weird. So yeah, you got to latch on to what makes you feel good and what makes you happy, and just do that the most, man. Spend time with your family, spend time with me. If you have pets, if you like to go out to the mountains, dude, take your guitar there and do that a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. That's actually a great advice.
Yeah, man. So thank you so much. It was great to get to know you a little bit, dude. I got to hear a couple songs. I'm going to be tuning into your stream when I can. I'm a pretty busy guy doing a lot of podcasts and a lot of things, but when I get a chance, I'll check in there. I'm going to go give you a follow after this. Everyone else in chat right now, the guest command is there with the link tree, and Jeff, my boy, is going to give a shout out to HGroove so that you can go and follow him directly on Twitch. And if you're watching this on YouTube, all the links are below. Check it out. Go over and check out that video that I already shared with you guys and watch it, on his channel, and show some love. All right, guys?
Yeah, man.
Is there anything else
thank
you want?
Very much.
No problem. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Do you have any upcoming releases or something you want to promote at all? I'm happy to let you promote yourself right now. Let yourself go.
I just want to say thank you, Kevin, for the opportunity of the podcast.
Yeah, man.
No,
my
for
pleasure.
me, it's amazing. I appreciate it, and it was nice to meet you as well, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, maybe next time I'll have you on the podcast and I'll let you ask all the questions and I ask no questions. So then you can get to know me on the same show, and we'll just reverse the roles. Does that work for you?
That can work for me, man.
And then we can learn about each other, and you can ask me whatever you want, sort of ask me anything, sort of questions like I did today, so I can learn a little, or you can learn about me. That would be a fun way to do it.
That sounds good to me, man.
Awesome, dude.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude.
Man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, dude. Well, we'll be in touch, man. This is just the beginning of our friendship, man, and it was a great way to start it off. So thank you for making content with me for our first conversation ever, dude. And it was an absolute pleasure. You're a gentleman and you're a scholar, and I can't wait to learn more about you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's talk later, okay?
Talk to you.
Take
man.
care of yourself,
Bye.
brother.
Thank you.
Hey, yo, background beats. Let's get the background beats going. That was fun, guys. It's always fun when I actually know little to nothing about the guest, because the conversation flows a little freely, and I really enjoyed the fact that we got to talk a little bit about musical culture, because a lot of my interviews have been with another Canadian or American, and the culture of the music is a lot different in Latin America, and I really was pleased to learn about that. So thank you so very much, HGroove Official. All the links are going to be popping up in the chat right now. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and subscribe. Comment any questions you have. Go and follow our guest. The Twitch is Kev from the Bunker. We do musicians shooting live over here. We do podcasts, and we're starting a new show in the fall. Very soon, you guys will see a new show on the YouTube. So stick around for that. Hit that subscribe. And I guess that's it. All of my links are below. Merch. We're going to get some Live from the Bunker shirts ready. So if you guys want to I will be wearing Live from the Bunker shirts all the time, because it doesn't say my name. It just says like the brand, which is sweet. I can actually support that and not feel like I'm promoting myself. So we're going to get the Live from the Bunker shirts. There's a couple up there now, but we're going to get a couple more designs. So make sure you check out the merch links. If you want to subscribe on Patreon to the YouTube level, it's just $3 a month. And that's just because I put out right now 2 videos every week, and soon it will be 3 videos a week, almost 2 hours of content every week on the YouTube and the podcast. So if you're listening on the podcast, you can find the Patreon, show us a little love over there. It's $3 a month, just because you love what we do and you're happy to help me out with keeping this show on the road. And I guess that's it. Until next time, I want to thank you guys all for watching here live, everyone in the chat. Thank our guest one more time, HGroove Music, and thank you for listening after the live recording. Until next time, keep it between the mustard and the mayonnaise.